Hey guys, NCSFan001 here, working another one of those weekly trophy list update videos. So today's date is Monday, May 20th, 2019, so this will have covered the week of May 13th through May 19th. My puppy's over here trying to sleep, and I think I woke him up. Well, he's not a puppy, he's 6 years old, but he's not too happy with me right now because we've been talking about getting a new puppy sometime later this year, and Nico likes being an only child or an only dog child, so he's not particularly happy. But anyway, this wasn't really that productive of a week with trophies because I was only playing for a few days and then came home because I'm spending some time at home with family and also with my neighbor who's home for a while as well, our old neighbor, good friend, Lizard Guy 123. So we're hanging out, maybe a couple other people hanging out as well. So we're going to be busy with a lot of stuff like that over this next, pretty much 2 week period, like all of this week and most of the week after. So not going to be a whole lot of trophy hunting done. So these videos are probably not going to be as long, probably like 20 minutes at most. So this past week, I worked on 3 games, so I'll talk about Red Dead 2 in a second. First off, one of them was The Secret of Monkey Island Special Edition. So this is a 100% game on the PS3. I purchased both of these, it's like a double pack, you buy both of them for 15 or each one separate for 10. I purchased these initially thinking they were related to Telltale, not realizing they were actually LucasArts. I knew that they were point and click. I just thought that they were Telltale the way that the Tales from Monkey Island 5-episode Telltale game is. They are not, so that was the main reason I purchased them, and the good thing is they are easy enough 100%, though this first one is more obnoxious than the second one. So with this game, there's a number of things you have to do. You get a few trophies, these first 4 just from completing the story. Then you have to learn all the insults from the pirates, and this is a very luck-based trophy as it's very randomized as to which insults you get and what responses the pirates give as to whether or not you're going to be able to do it in any reasonable amount of time. You're definitely going to want to save before this because there is a speedrun trophy. We'll get to that in a moment. It's not necessarily hard, it can be very randomized and take quite a while to do, so it requires a little bit of luck. You have to collect all the notes and memos on Monkey Island, so this is the final area you go to in the game. It's just like 9 collectibles. It's pretty easy. I mean, as long as you're following a guide, there's a good guide on PlayStationTrophies.org. I would recommend following that to do all of the trophies in this game in a single playthrough. Although you do technically have to do more than one playthrough because you have to use one save slot to play both endings. This isn't particularly hard to do, but it can be a little bit buggy or touchy at least. People have reported, not always counting, so you're going to want to only save in save slot 1 throughout the whole game, as well as your autosave, and that's the best way to guarantee it to unlock or give a better chance of having it unlocked. That's what I did. That's what most people do that had success with it. I just recommend following the guide, like I said, make your save right after, or right before you start shooting the cannonballs on the final area. And then you can go back and clean up the other ending fairly quickly. So you have to finish the game in under 3 hours. This is not a horribly difficult time limit to do, but there are a few obnoxious areas. A few of these trophies take some time. The controls are really, really bad. So that's probably the biggest issue, is just the controls don't work very well with this being sort of an old school point and click game. So you do have to be a little bit careful with that. You can skip dialogue, which is good, but it's a little bit touchy at times, a little bit more difficult than it probably should have been, mostly because of the controls and the interface as well. The interface is not user-friendly at all in this game, so just do keep that in mind. It's not quite the easiest of the walking sim games out there, point-and-click games. It's point-and-click. You have to beat the game without using any hints. This shouldn't be a problem as long as you're following a guide. I think you get hints by holding square. Switch to classic mode at least once. That's the easiest trophy in the game. You just have to hit the select button at any point. You have to make Guybrush drown at a certain point in the game, which requires you to stay underwater for about 10 minutes. So as long as you save before, you can just reload the save after you get the trophy. So there's one like this in the second game as well. And then you have to escape from the Cannibal's Hut 5 times. This is not very difficult either, but it does take a little bit of time. So again, you may want to save before doing it, or something like that. That's probably your best option, just save before doing it. Although you will have to play through the Cannibal's Hut area twice to get both endings in the game. So there's that. So this one is longer than the second one. It is a little bit tougher, but it's still quite easy as long as you're following a guide. It's like a 2 out of 10. It'll take 3 hours. It'll take probably 3 to 5 hours, or 3 to 4 hours really, just because you will have to replay some of the game, and the time limit is a little bit tighter in this one. It's still not bad. You can definitely do the game in like 2.5 hours and still be messing up a number of times. Also, this thing crashed on me 3 times, which is not good for such a small, short game. So do keep in mind there's technical problems as well with it. Monkey Island 2, this one was much better. I liked this one a lot more, both because of the trophies and because the game functions much better. This one didn't crash on me at all, so that was good. Didn't run into any issues with that. The controls are better, the interface is better. The overall, all that stuff is just better about this game, and the trophies are also easier. So you get 4 trophies for completing the game, and you have another trophy for 3-hour speedrun, but this game, it's much, much easier to do. Like, this game you can definitely do in under 2 hours. I think I did it in under 2 hours. I mean, pauses the timer as well, which is good, but I did this in, like, probably 2 hours, maybe a little bit less, so it's much more forgiving in this game, so you shouldn't have too many issues with the 3-hour time limit this time around. And that was still screwing up at a number of points, and I still had plenty of time. Beat the game without using a hint and using fewer than 10 hints, so just don't use a hint. Switch to classic mode, just like the previous game. And then you have some miscellaneous trophies, or a miscellaneous trophy, just allow Guybrush to die. This occurs in, I think, the 3rd chapter of the game. It's very easy, it doesn't take as long in this game, it takes about 5 minutes. So, nothing too difficult there, just make a save before it and reload, although you really have enough time to where you're probably okay. The only thing that might take up more time is the very last section of the game, because you're sort of racing against an in-game enemy that LeChuck will keep, like, transporting you every 30 seconds, or not even every 30 seconds, but whenever he finds you while wandering through the area, so it can be a little bit randomized there. You still have more than enough time, but it's just one little thing to keep an eye out for that you might want to save before. You can't highlight, or you have to highlight 5 or less times. I would just suggest turning off the ability to highlight in the pause menu, that way you don't have to risk doing this at all. Then you have to inhale some helium. This is at the very end of the game, pretty easy. And you have to call the help desk while walking through the jungle. It's a funny scene, and it's fairly easy to pull off. So definitely the second game is easier and shorter. This one can be done in under 3 hours for the entire 100%. Because there's no multiple endings trophy, none of that stuff to worry about. So definitely would recommend this one over the first one, though it would obviously make sense to play the first one as well, so you have some idea of what's going on. But both games come with 12 trophies, 1 gold, 4 silvers, 7 bronzes. So the other game I've been working on is Red Dead Redemption 2, and we are actually getting very close in terms of the trophies. Now, what's left in the trophy progress, not so much. So the trophies I've earned, I am at 99% completion. All I have left is the 5th exotic quest and about half of the 4th exotic quest. I have finished everything else, all challenges are done, all the other miscellaneous tasks are done, which is awesome. The 100% is really actually not that hard in this game. Like, it's just time consuming more than anything. It's not even really that difficult, because most of the challenges have very good strategies to use for them. So it's honestly not even that hard to 100%. It's just kind of annoying having to walk, 20 minutes across the map on horse to do anything, or pay money to fast travel, stuff like that. The gold medals is going to be the bigger issue. I have 15 of them right now, and you need 70. The problem with the gold medals, there's 2 major problems. 1, the objectives do not carry over between playthroughs of missions. Now, this is obviously not a problem for some missions where there's only like 1 or maybe 2 objectives. But for a lot of them, this makes it harder than GTA 5. In fact, this is noticeably harder than the equivalent trophy in GTA 5. Partially because of that, and because there aren't as many missions available. There's only, I think, 104 or 105 missions in this one versus the, 122 that were in GTA 5. So you have less room for error, and you have to do all the objectives in a single run, which is really annoying. I don't know why. I guess they wanted to make it harder or more realistic. It's just... It wouldn't be as bad if you could also skip all the just cinematic areas of the missions. Like, I get it, they were so cool to look at the first time through when you were focusing on the story. When you're going back trying to clean up the gold medals, it starts to get annoying when you have to sit through 10-minute long, basically unskippable cutscenes every time you fail one objective in each mission, because it happens a lot. Oftentimes you'll end up just failing one objective, so it's really, really annoying. I wish that they would have done something about that, either let you skip the cinematic areas, or made it so the objectives carry over between playthroughs. That would have made this a much more tolerable trophy. It's still not overly difficult by any means. It is harder though than GTA 5's equivalent trophy. It's not really necessarily overly difficult as long as you know what the objectives are for the mission. But it just gets kind of frustrating having to keep replaying missions over and over again and having to sit through stuff like that over and over again. That's just something I'm not a fan of because that's just a time waste. Otherwise, though, the only other single-player trophy I have left is Grin and Bear It. I've got maybe 4 bear attacks that I've survived and killed the bear. So that's not very hard, it's just a little grindy, and I think there are good places to grind it out at, so that shouldn't be too hard. I mean, I'll do it eventually. That's probably going to be the trophy I save for last, either that or level 50, depending on what I feel like on that day. And then for the multiplayer, this is where I've made some trophy progress on. I have now reached 5 gold belt buckles from awards. This is much, much easier than the equivalent trophy in GTA 5. I mean, the entire multiplayer is stupidly easy compared to GTA 5, because really you don't even have to do that much. The 5 gold belt buckles is really, really easy because there's a number of very easy ones. You'll probably end up getting this almost naturally just by completing the story of the game and doing some free roam missions and stuff and going for the other trophies. You shouldn't have any issue with the gold belt buckles in this. The MVP 3 times in a round with at least 4 players. I got this one already. It's not that hard, and I'm sure there's a way to boost it if you have to. I currently own 3 horses and 3 stables. Owning 3 is not very difficult, but owning 4 and 5 gets to be very expensive, so that's why I haven't done it yet. Reaching rank 50. This is by far the worst trophy in the multiplayer, arguably the worst trophy in the game because it's so grindy. And it wouldn't be as bad, like at least in GTA 5, there was stuff to do. Red Dead does not have that luxury. There's literally nothing to do most of the time. You're going to end up, I mean, the world is fairly empty. There's not a whole lot of NPCs, not a whole lot of action going on. And I get that it just got out of beta this past week, like a week ago. But there's just not enough to do. I mean, I'm sure that they'll add in some kind of heist-type DLC with, you know, a bank robbery and a train robbery, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they add in more weapons like an actual early machine gun, or maybe even like you can own your own armored train, own your own properties. I'm sure a lot of that's going to come in later on. But reaching level 50 is just so time-consuming and so boring that it's not a fun thing to go for. It takes so long, and with how the money system is in this game and how little money you tend to get from stuff, it makes it less fun to go for, especially with, or it's not even just how little money you earn, it's just the fact that everything's way too expensive with how little money you actually earn. So it's meant to be as much of a grind as possible. It's meant to be a microtransaction-driven multiplayer, even more so, I think, than GTA 5, because in GTA 5, you don't have to grind for that long in GTA 5 to get good stuff. I specifically remember, like, because it constantly has stuff that goes on sale, and you can do the import-export list to easily make a good amount of money in, like, a day without a whole lot of difficulty, especially if you have multiple people in your party doing it. So then you have to successfully counter Rival Posse's free roam mission. I still haven't done this one. I know it's not a difficult trophy, I'm not having the best luck of finding other people doing free roam missions. I don't think a lot of people are too interested in that. At least not anymore, at least not until more stuff gets added in. But I do know this one's really, really easy to boost with a partner in like 10 minutes. So if I don't have this by rank 45 or so, I probably will just boost it and get it done really quickly and easily. If I don't have it by then, I would expect I will, but just in case. So this is another trophy I did, purchase 5 camp improvements, and when it comes to rank as well, I almost forgot to say, I think I'm ranked 16 right now, 16-ish. Or no, I might be a little bit lower than that, I might only be like 13 or 14, so long, long way to go. Purchase 5 camp improvements, this is a bit expensive, but thankfully the flags count, and the flags are only $50 a piece, so it's fairly reasonable. Just purchase 5 of them. Do not purchase any of the camp improvements using gold. That will glitch the trophy for that entire character and you will not be able to get it. So that's really, really dumb. I don't know if it's been fixed is the thing. I'm assuming it has not. So do keep that in mind. Just purchase everything with cash, or I mean with with cash for this trophy. So it's the only one, as far as I know, that is glitched in the online. I don't think any of the others are. And then I still have to craft 25 pieces of ammo. This is very easy, but you need to purchase a recipe, and you don't unlock any recipes for ammo until a little bit later on in the multiplayer, so that's the only thing about that. The Persistent Posse costs another $200, so another microtransaction-driven trophy. Few easy miscellaneous trophies for the multiplayer. I mean, the multiplayer, it's not hard, really, at all. It's just very, very time-consuming, just very, very grindy, and just not fun at the moment is the only real issue. I mean, if it was more fun, I wouldn't have an issue, because I didn't really mind going to level 100 in GTA 5 because there was so much more to do. There was constantly new stuff to do, constantly new double XP events like every weekend of all sorts of different racing events and stuff, some of which I sucked at, some of which I was good at, but they gave you extra money and XP and it helped you level up faster, and it was fun. It gave you a lot of variety. So, with that, level 65, 86%, 16,360 total trophies, 375 platinums, 2,093 golds, 4,162 silvers, 9,730 bronzes. So, for the upcoming next couple of weeks, I don't know what exactly the schedule is going to be like because, like I said, I'm going to be hanging out with my neighbor and other friends a lot. We are going to try to do a couple of live streams while we're together and do a couple of, co-op live streams, but otherwise I probably won't be live streaming much, if at all, while I'm home. It won't be as much, at least, but I will try to stream some with him, or we might try to do a podcast of some kind just to try something different out. Maybe record a couple videos together, maybe record some like Mario Party or something, maybe some Mario Party 10, because I haven't shown that yet. So we'll figure all that out, what happens. So when it comes to games I am working on, I am currently compiling a list of exactly what's going to be needed for each of the old games that I want to work on, all the PS3 games. Because the PS3 games are kind of my priority right now, because with the PS5 probably coming out next year or in at latest 2021, I have a feeling that's going to be sort of the death of the PS3 online, and a lot of the servers are going to be going down at that point, aside from the just absolute most popular, like probably the Call of Duty games. I currently have 10 games on PS3 with multiplayer-based trophies that I have to do. 3 of those are Call of Duty, and they're all in co-op, and they're all DLC, so I have all the platinums done, but I still need to do the co-op DLC stuff. Those being Black Ops 1 with zombies, Black Ops 2 with zombies, and Call of Duty Ghosts with Extinction Mode, but I finished the extra XP challenges at least. So it's going to take a while to get through all of that, but that is a little bit lower priority overall, except for Black Ops 1 is one I still want to get done soon, just because that's not as time-consuming, and a lot of it can be done with 2 people, whereas Black Ops 2 takes 4 people for some of the Easter eggs, as far as I remember, and, I mean, yeah, Shang takes 4 people, but everything else takes 2. And then Ghosts, I think, can be done with 2 people for the most part, so that's not as bad. It's not a fun thing to go through, but it's not horribly difficult. So the goal for the summer, June, July, August, is still to work on Far Cry 2, which, from what I know, most of it can be done with 2 consoles. You need a third person for revives and for some of the weapons manuals for, like, the multi-kills. And unfortunately, I've been told you need to have a separate internet connection if you have more than 2 consoles. Now, that they did just do some kind of server maintenance that I heard about, so that's a good thing, that maybe it'll make something work better. And then, of course, there's a 16-player trophy, but the 16-player trophy isn't as bad as some games just because you only need to be on the winning team. You don't need to have the highest score or anything. So it can be boosted in just 2 matches, so it's not as bad as some games. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I can deal with a long grind if I know I can do it. Then there's Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 is probably going to be one of the worst games I have left to boost because everything requires 6 people or 6 consoles, and obviously, as I've said before, I'm not going to own 6 consoles unless I win the lottery. So I may own 3, though. I will probably own 3 at some point in the near future, so with 3, it's at least a little more reasonable. But it requires 6 people or 6 consoles to do everything in Uncharted 2. Thankfully, the trophies are not that hard in Uncharted 2. It's mostly fairly simple things. but it just takes a long time, and you also have to grind out 2,500 kills. There's also a couple co-op mode trophies, but those only require 3 people. And then Battlefield 3 is another one. That one I know is nice because you can do everything with 4 people / 4 consoles. So I can do everything with 4 consoles or 4 people. And except for, I've been told the squad wipe ribbon requires 6 people, but I know I'm like 99% sure I already have that. The only question is, can I get the MVP awards in a match, in a trophy unlocking match with 4 people that's in a rented server? Will it still unlock? I think it will from what I've read, but I'm not 100% sure. But otherwise, at least that can be done with 4 people for the entire thing, which is more reasonable. And I don't think most of that DLC even takes that long, just grinding out some weapons-based stuff. But if you're just grinding against your own players, it's probably not that bad, and you can kick people to jump in, stuff like that. So then in September, I'd want to go back to Red Dead 1. You can do some of it with 2 people or 2 consoles, and it has apparently been fixed heavily. 1 trophy requires 4 people, and 1 needs 6 people of what I have left. I have Kingpin done, thankfully, but I still need Poker Ace. I need the one for killing 3 people in that pre-match period, and then everything else requires 2 people, including the co-op mode, which will require another active player. And then I also want to do Resident Evil 5 on the PS3. That entirely can be done with 4 consoles, or 4 people, and I'm going to have probably at least 3 consoles by that point. Depending on how cheap I can get them, I might go ahead and get 4 at some point in the future just to have it as an investment for while I'm hunting these trophies, and then once I'm done with all of these old PS3 games, I can sell back a couple of them or just sell a couple of them, and at least then, that's done. At least then I get a little bit of money back, because I wouldn't need more than 2 ever again, obviously. So then in October, I'd want to do Killzone Shadowfall and the Intercept Standalone. That is a PS4 game, but it is an early PS4 game, and I'd like to get that done. As far as I know, most everything can be done with 2 people, maybe 4 people, but that's still going to be easier because it's a PS4 game. Then in November, go back and do Black Ops 2. I'm not missing that many trophies, mainly Easter eggs, so if I can find some people that know what they're doing, I don't think it's going to be that bad to do. In fact, I know that Die Rise and Mob, what I have left, I'm missing 3 trophies, including the Die Rise Easter egg, and I don't think any of those 3 remaining trophies are going to be difficult. It's more Buried and Origins that I'm worried about. And then also Resident Evil 6. Now, thankfully, Resident Evil 6, all but 2 of the trophies, I believe, can be boosted with just 2 people or consoles, so not bad at all. Very time-consuming, but not difficult, and only requires 2 people. The other 2, I believe, require 3 people, which is also not bad, so I'm not too worried about Resident Evil 6. I'm just not looking forward to going back to that game because I didn't like it. Then in December, Advanced Warfare on the PS4, in which I'm missing about 10 to 12 trophies, including the Easter eggs from the 3rd and 4th maps and some miscellaneous trophies. And with that as well, Uncharted 3. That is going to suck because some of it can be done with 2 consoles in split screen with a total of 4 players. Some of it can, not much of it. A lot of it requires 10 people. That's a lot. That's not going to be, and it's not like with Far Cry 2 where you just have to be coordinated for less than an hour one time. This is going to be a monumental effort over the course of weeks. So, really just, it's not going to be fun. And then also there's like Just Cause 4's DLC. First DLC is out. There's 2 more for that. Borderlands Game of the Year. Still waiting on them to fix it. Hopefully. I don't know if they ever will. I managed to drag this video out to like 25 minutes. So really that's it for the moment. If anyone, I'm going to put it out here again. If anyone is willing to carry me through the Division survival mode, I would be greatly appreciative of it. I think I only need like 1 other person that can carry me. Because I'm just terrible at it, and because I'm just sick of it and want to get it done. If anyone wants to work on Black Ops 1 at some point, maybe not this week or the week after, but within a couple weeks, please let me know as well. Same with Call of Duty Ghosts on PS3, that's one to work on over time. And yeah, that's basically it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, I don't know, there's not going to be much trophy hunting in the next couple of weeks. There's not going to be too many like streams or anything, but we'll see what we can work together. So the next trophy update video, possibly the next two, are probably going to actually be quite short because I'm not going to go over my whole listing there again unless I revise something major. So do keep that in mind. But yeah, and I am, by the way, wanting to get Resident Evils. Well, I do want to do Resident Evil 2 at some point, but Red Dead 2 I want to do as my 400th, so I'm going to be steadily focusing on that. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next week.